what goals you have, what priorities you're setting when it comes to the 2022 legislative session.
It's great to be here with you, Brian, and with the Seattle Channel, and I appreciate this time to chat. Yeah, it was a fascinating thing. This is my first year legislating at the state level. Some of what I am bringing this leg session was introduced in last leg session. The one I'm most excited about is my anti-displacement property tax exemption that's looking at an up to $250,000 exemption on property taxes for the state portion of property taxes, really looking at what is pushing folks, particularly folks in the central district and others around the state, out of affordability. And we have to look at property taxes, and also looking at our upside down tax code and addressing why are we so dependent on property taxes versus other forms of progressive tax, when we know it's one of the more regressive taxes, when we're also facing a housing crisis, all sorts of intersectional issues. So I'm really excited about that. I also have a Doulas for All bill, which I am happy to be sponsoring. It's been built by doulas. Doulas are people who give support to people giving birth so that they have healthy outcomes and a positive experience, as positive as they can in that birth. And so that policy was built by Surge Northwest and doulas across Washington state. And I'm very excited to have an opportunity to have those people supporting birthing people, and for births covered under Medicaid to have doula support covered. So really expanding the conversation about what it is to have healthy birthing people and babies in Washington state.
Great. Can we touch on one piece? I read some of your priorities too online there. This whole idea of maintaining residential heat and electricity. That sounded like another, and I think this sort of underscores the whole point that we're still in emergency mode, at least to some extent here with responding to COVID or whatever else. Can you talk about that bill and maybe just that larger issue of what we're dealing with as a state when it comes to responding to COVID and how we do that equitably, I guess?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. I mean, the attitude I'm bringing into 2022 is we are not past COVID. We are very much in this moment, right, with Omicron, the newest variant, so quickly spreading. And yet some of the mechanisms and protections that neighbors had earlier in the year are gone, right? So we had a number of moratoriums, including a moratorium on shutting off anyone's energy or utilities due to inability to pay. I want to structurally have that stay as a mechanism, particularly for folks who have disabilities and or low income, because those folks really, that inability to pay and then losing what turns into a lifeline. And certainly the pandemic has shown me, and I think every person in Washington state, if I didn't have electricity during this pandemic, I couldn't go to work, my children couldn't go to school. Literally everything I need to access my life, I need it. It's an essential part of what I need. So really trying to change the question of what are the mechanisms to make sure people have what they need. And hopefully that's another piece that we'll be discussing in the Environment and Energy Committee this year.